Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you guys could hear me. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I think gotta fix a little my knotless boho braids. Yes. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Dinner with the Data podcast. Right. So, I could have talk about Jasmine Crockett, but I did a quick video of her earlier today, so you guys can check that out. But I'm going to do a deep dive on Jasmine Crockett over the weekend, and I'm going to premiere it Saturday night because I want to take my time with Jasmine Crockett. Yes, she is trending again. Jasmine Crockett is going to be trending every single week as long as President Trump is president. Thank you, because you're going to give me more content. But I want to do a deep dive, and then I may have to start putting my focus just a little bit on Black women, not too much. Women in general, but a little bit more on Black women. But anyway, that's not the topic of today. No, it's not. As you can see in the title, honey, Fani Willis is on the run. Well, not really, but we saw her and Nathan Wade, honey, at LAX taking a little vacay. And as they were traveling on their little vacation, what was going on in Georgia? The Senate committee, honey. Oh, they're tired of her Black ass. Yes. We will be seeing Fani Willis in front of the cameras, live and direct, before May. Yes, we will. But I'm going to get into all that in a sec because we're going to go down memory lane from a year ago this month. Yes. And I know why we see Fani Willis and Nathan Wade in LAX. I'm going to get to that in a sec as well. Thank you, Walter, Tyrone, Ferno, Elite, Barb, Marlana. So, guys, listen, everybody, I am a little early. I usually start at 9 p.m., but P Ray is coming on later on in the show, and I wanted to get this out. I wanted to get this first portion of the show out the way because I am going to be showing video clips and it's going to take some time because we need to just sit back and listen to what people are saying, and we need to go back and revisit old testimony clips of Fani Willis talking about her and Nathan Wade's relationship because the Georgia Senate committee, they're tired of her and they're coming for her and she can no longer hide. Yes. So let's get into it. Georgia Senate committee pushes for subpoena enforcement in the DA Willis probe. Actually, let me make myself bigger and put this where I'm at here. Okay. And I guess I could share or not. Ooh, hi. I guess I could do it like that or like this. No, maybe like this. Yeah. All right. So let's do a brief. The Georgia Senate Special Committee on Investigations has been reauthorized to investigate allegations of misconduct involving Fulton County DA Fani T. Willis linked to the Georgia election interference case involving former President Donald Trump. The committee is seeking enforcement of legislative subpoena against Willis, claiming she has waived objections and failed to prove her privilege claims, with the court previously denying her petition for declaratory judgment and injunctive relief. Willis had agreed to provide certain documents related to her election interference case, but disputes remain unresolved, and the court has yet to rule on the committee's motion to compel her testimony. Bring me up closer, honey. So, in a motion last week, attorneys of state legislative branch argue Willis has waived her objections and failed to prove her claim of privilege. So, here's the backstory. The Georgia Senate Special Committee on Investigations, chaired by State Senate Bill Cowsert, has been reauthorized this year by Senate Resolution 5 to investigate allegations of misconduct involving Fulton County District Attorney Fani T. Willis and former special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Oh, okay, so honey, this is a duo. They're investigating Fanny and Nathan. This investigation has gained significant attention due to its connection to the Georgia election interference case involving former President Donald Trump. What we know, the committee is urging a Fulton County judge to enforce a legislative subpoena against Willis, arguing that she has waived her objections and failed to substantiate her claims of privilege. In a recent court filing, attorneys for the committee responded to Willis' arguments regarding her compliance with subpoenas issued by the panel. They're not messing around with her no more. This is it. Because if she don't show up this time, if Nathan Wade don't show up, they're both going to be in handcuffs because you're in direct violation. She's run out of options. She's run out of options, and Miss Thing is on the run. Yes, honey, because I don't know if this was TMZ or whatever paparazzi caught Fanny and Nathan at the LAX airport.
What's he like?
What is this? Let's wait for the commercial to pass. Look at the lovebirds. Oh, honey, I'm
What's
sorry,
he like?
but she could have dressed a little bit better than that. So, former Donald Trump prosecutor Fani Willis and Nathan Wade have been spotted together at LAX despite previously claiming their relationship ended in 2023. Now, not only were they spotted in LAX yesterday. Remember when her daughter got arrested, and Fani Willis showed up on the scene? She was with Nathan Wade, was accompanying her. A friend of mine, shout out to LA Pink, she caught them at Ross, honey, in Douglas County together. So they've been out and about. On her, when she won re-election night, he was there celebrating with her. So I don't think that relationship never ended. So they've been lying. They lied in court. They've been lying to the public ever since. But we're going to go down memory lane and play those videos. But I want to share a couple of minutes, or more than a couple of minutes, from this Senate hearing that happened today. So I just played Fani Willis and Nathan Wade at LAX going on vacation for his birthday. So she's tricking on him again. And as they were traveling yesterday, the Georgia Senate Committee was reauthorizing new subpoenas. And today they had a live hearing about Fani Willis and how she is They're pushing and demanding for her to show up. So take a listen.
Subpoena, I think, you know, the committee has options there as well. I'll just leave it at that in the open session.
Questions of Mr. Belafonte from committee members? Chairman Dolezal, you're recognized first.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Josh, for being here. This has been going on for a year now. The DA, when we first issued the subpoena, declared in the paper that it was unlawful, when it clearly was lawful. The courts now have agreed with us that it was lawful. And I'm wondering what your advice is on how we actually get to a commitment. I know that she's saying her travel schedule is preventing that. It would appear, according to, I guess, eyewitness reports, that she's traveling with Mr. Wade again. And so do we have any ability to, I guess, distinguish between personal travel with Mr. Wade, that I don't know if that's part of why she's saying she's unavailable, versus actual official court duties? And at what point do we reach the point of either a second subpoena or enforcement of the subpoena, either with the sergeant of arms or via court order?
The existing subpoena is still on the witness subpoena is still effective. The court has ruled it is enforceable, and so whenever you have an enforceable subpoena out there and there's not compliance, you can move to compel. Now the problem is that that older subpoena had a date of last year, and during that time, so you know, you could you have options, whether again it's to issue another subpoena or move to compel that one, or just have an agreement of counsel. And you know, in terms of which I would either recommend or proceed, I'm happy to answer here, but it might be best to do that in executive session.
It would appear to me, as a casual observer of this, and somebody who doesn't practice law, but you know, the DA has thumbed her nose at this committee. Seemingly the DA has, well, she has thumbed her nose at Georgia's open records laws, and I just have limited confidence that she's acting in good faith. And so I do believe that we may be at the point where we need to escalate this to the next step. I think you have been trying to work this out with Mr. Barnes in good faith, and I certainly respect that. And I think that he probably is acting in good faith, but I'm not sure that his client is, and that I think is probably a concern and should be a concern for this committee.
I will say that there have been a lot of filings. There have been a lot of attempts to go to the court to get resolution, and that is what is, you know, in many ways caused the time issue. But I will also say that the court, in every time given the opportunity, has held that this committee has the jurisdiction. The documents need to be produced, and the witness testimony should occur.
Follow up, Mr. One. Follow up.
Go right ahead. Sure.
As it relates to the order by Judge Ingram that the subpoena is lawful and should be enforced, where are we at with the DA's ability to appeal that? Are we still within a window of time where she can do that, or is that expired?
That is expired, and there is no appealable order at this time, because in the because we reached agreement with them, there's nothing to appeal on the prior document subpoena. It is moot because there is that agreement. On the witness, we think they've waived the argument and long ago, and so that is that time is gone. And even then, it would take the both the Superior Court to decide whether to allow an appeal to proceed. But that time is gone. There's no final order right now.
Oh, hi, I'm Eric Wareheim. I run the world-famous Top Food blog.
Hey, these commercials are killing me.
Did Senator Tillery, did you have a question?
I was going to ask what the recommendation of counsel as to the next step as well, if you thought it would be judicial. That seems like that would be the move at this point in time, potentially even asking the court to set a date for the either in-person testimony. Or am I correct in hearing you that you already have reached an agreement on the documents to be supplied?
Yes.
Have you reached an agreement as to the date they would be supplied?
We were, frankly, acting under the presumption that because they've been produced to other parties, that they were available quickly.
That would be my thought.
And yeah, and that's why on March 18, I kind of asked, what's the status, 24th, and then again 25th. So, you know, we're at the point where I think certainly we've acted in good faith in trying to get them without involving the court. I'm not sure why the documents have not been produced at this point.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
If they've been produced in another matter, were those produced under seal in that other matter?
I believe there were some that may have been produced under seal, but certainly not all. And then those that, there's two issues. There's the one in the litigation and then the ones that were provided to Congress. The ones that were provided to Congress, to my knowledge, were not provided under seal. And so those, again, have been produced. I know typically you just keep that kind of batch ready to go.
So we're probably talking about a small number of documents that aren't already publicly available, correct?
Those that were provided to Congress, presumably, any individual could get through a Freedom of Information Act request. Well, no, that's Congress, they're exempt. So, well, now with the Open Records Act applying to district attorneys and their offices, that would cover at least those provided to Congress unless there was a specific reason to withhold them under the Open Records Act. For those produced in the litigation, it's kind of new area, but I would think they're subject to the Open Records Act as well.
So I guess I've kind of walked you up to my ultimate question of what would be the holdup now? Why could they not be literally provided within hours?
Senator, I can't answer that question. I just don't know.
We've not been given an excuse, though, right?
What we've been told is that counsel is checking with its client or their client, and that's where it lands, or that's where it sits today.
Other questions? So I'll tell the committee, I, of course, communicated with Mr. Belafonte, and my thought was because I'd had such a professional relationship with Governor Barnes as far as scheduling the original depositions, et cetera, that we would just reach out to him and say, when can we expect the documents? We'd reached agreement as to which documents they would voluntarily produce without raising privilege or objecting in any way. And that narrowed the scope of what we originally asked for, but at least got us going.
That's correct.
And so far, those documents have not been produced because counsel is waiting on his client, Fani Willis, to tell him when she can give us those documents. Is that the summary of the document production?
It is.
And then I also ask you, just in a professional cooperation manner, to reach out to Governor Barnes to give us a date for the deposition. My thinking was the same way we did it last time. If they would agree a convenient date, we'd make sure our committee can meet, and I'd issue the subpoena for that date. And you float those dates. If anybody here knows you're on a trip or out, and it needs, want to be here for it, let us know, and we'll work around that. But give her counsel some choices and say, we will be here. Pick a date, and then we'll issue the subpoena on that date. Now, is that agreeable to everybody, or does that sound like this? I mean, I don't think we have to go in executive session to try to be cooperative with opposing counsel. Okay. And then on the documents, I think you're going to have to just do a letter that says, by golly, here's the date. And it needs to be before we have her here to testify so that we can be prepared to question her. So I would say 2 weeks from today or from this Friday, I mean, pick a date here. April 15th range, you look at something that's the end of a week and say, this is reasonable. This has been going on now since March the 12th, and follow up. And so that's more than 30 days from when they agreed to produce documents that have already been produced in other matters. Right? Okay. Does that sound like a fair course of action? I'm not, you're the counsel for this committee, but that would be my suggestion if that suits.
I think the only question for the committee is, given the agreement on March 10, whether the committee wants documents while the legislature is in session, or if the committee would be satisfied getting them after sine die.
Well, I mean, we only got a week.
Right.
So next Friday, sine die, so I don't believe it's going to happen. Even if it gets here, we're going to be on the floor.
Sure.
So right. I don't think we'll have time for a meeting. Let's give them till April 15th to produce those documents, assuming that doesn't fall on a Saturday or Sunday, that have already been agreed upon.
Yes.
Surely she's not traveling out of, I mean, she's got a job to do here in Fulton County. She ought to be here within 30 days. And it's asked and then if those documents aren't produced, then you got to file that motion to compel or whatever it is to get the court to make it again and ask for your attorney's fees. We're paying you for all your efforts and asking her to do stuff that the court's already ruled she has to do. And then we'll try to see if she will appear, and if not, at least then we have an opportunity to move to compel her attendance that the court's already ordered.
Okay.
All right.
Let me just pause right there. We got about 5-7 more minutes of this, then I'm going to play, and then I'm going to move on to some other videos. However, if you notice, he said she has until April the 15th to produce those documents that they've been asking for. This is separate from her testifying about those documents. So she has a deadline. And if she doesn't produce those documents by April 15th, she has a serious problem on her hands.
I have a few things in the file for committee members that Mr. Belafonte brought us this morning. I want to make sure we have in the record, and I'm going to let you mark them for us, and we'll give them to the court reporter to keep in our record. But there was an order that specifically ordered Ms. Willis to appear in response to her subpoena, the witness subpoena, and that was not appealed.
The order indicated that the witness subpoena was enforceable, but in the December of last year order, it grouped it with the document one and said subject to the production. It doesn't address the witness one separately. My point on that one was there's not been an objection made by the district attorney on the enforceability or scope of the witness subpoena since last year.
Okay, so I'm looking at an order that's dated February 25th of 25.
Yes.
Order regarding petitioner's objections to witness subpoena that ordered her to file a detailed elaboration of her arguments no later than March 12th, or else abandon the objections to these requests on these bases. And the respondent shall have until March 21st to respond. That's us.
That's us, and that's the one where we pointed out in our response that in that opportunity afforded to the district attorney by the court, there were not objections made to the witness subpoena.
And
it was
that
focused
is
on documents.
your document filed on March 12th, petitioner's brief in response to order regarding petitioner's objection, and then your reply. So this is the briefing of that issue.
That's correct.
All right, for our record. And no appeal to the court's order.
No.
So the next step is for us to issue the subpoena again, give them a date certain, and if she fails to appear, then we would file a motion for contempt for failing to have honored a subpoena that she's already get an order that is enforceable.
You would have several options at that point, including contempt. Yes.
All right. And then we will talk to you about which of those options to go.
All right.
Okay. So let's be nice guys again first. Let's reach out to her counsel and suggest either a Thursday or Friday in beginning the last week of April or the first 2 weeks of May.
All right.
And if they will agree to a date, then we'll issue the subpoena, and I think they will honor their word. If not, we're going to have a whole nother problem.
Right.
And the same thing on the documents. Just say, we've hit the end of our rope. We need them by April 15th. You've already agreed to give them to us. And if they don't, then we'll have to circle back with you. I'm expecting we're going to probably plan a meeting for late April or early May, depending on the subpoena one way or the other.
All right.
And then we'll tell you what to do, or you'll tell us your advice, and then we'll choose. Senator Tiller.
Mr. Chairman, I just wonder your thoughts and the thoughts of the committee. We've gone these steps several times. Would it be appropriate, and would the committee consider authorizing counsel, if a date cannot be set for appearance before May 10th, to authorize him to file a motion with the court asking the court to set the date for the personal appearance?
Monday.com is the best AI for work. And here.
Child.
What do you think? Let's say they don't agree, they don't play nice, that we're trying to be professional and they won't agree to a date. Would that be an option for you to
That would
do?
be an option. I think also that the committee could issue a subpoena setting a date unilaterally, and then they would have opportunities at that point, if they can't make it, to move to quash or whatever else. Or if we don't get a date, I think we could just ask the court, indicate it almost like a status conference, and ask for guidance from the court in an order setting a date. So that, given that we've already gone through all the objections, right? I mean, the only objection left would be something like trial schedule or something of that nature, which is why I think you've given a large window to help avoid that.
Mr. Belafonte, the reason I'll bring up that option is if we file a motion, then we're going to have a motion to quash.
Correct.
Then we're going to have a hearing on the motion to quash, and we're going to be back in this, I think, wheel that we've been on for the past a year already. If the committee feels like it's a wise move, I at least I'm willing to make the motion if the committee wants to consider, at least for consideration, that if personal appearance cannot be set by May 10th, that we would file a motion with the court, that the court set the date for personal appearance and testimony on the matters that they've already ruled are legally binding.
Is that to basically give us a shortcut or expedite matters to do it that way?
Pending agreement with the court, of course, but it is an option to present to the court and to help shortcut that, for sure.
Senator Hatchett, you're recognized.
Yep. And this may be a conversation that would be more appropriate in executive session, but as I start, if it needs to go in executive session, you just tell me to stop. But 6.4, that I'm assuming that rule would apply here.
Yes.
And that if we send a 6.4 letter to resolve a discovery dispute and we're not able to get it, then we could actually motion for a 6.4 hearing on those specific issues, and that could be the vehicle in which to get the court to set a date for the documents and for her to appear.
That is another option.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll get ahead of you, Mr. Chairman, but if you're comfortable with that, I'll make that in a form of a motion.
Basically, it would be if they don't voluntarily agree to select one of these dates in the next, the end of April, the first 2 weeks of May, to ask the court's intervention to set the date.
To set the date.
All right. I'll accept that as a motion. Anybody want to second that? Got a second by the Vice Chairman. Any discussion of that course of action? All right. All in agreement with that, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed? 2 opposed.
And Mr. Chairman, I have another motion I'd like to make second to that, if you
Let's
don't
hear
mind. Should we end up in the position that we have to move forward with forcing a hearing because we can't set one by agreement, then I would move that we instruct counsel to request all fees for all time involved in anything concerning his cost, attorney's fees, for anything concerning the matters of appearance and document production after May the 10th.
I don't even think we need a motion for that. You're going to do that, aren't you?
Sounds like it, sir.
I mean, why wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
No,
we're paying you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, let's.
All right, so I'm gonna stop that right there. Um, so she can no longer hide. She can no longer hide. Now, as you guys just heard, Willis has until May the 10th to comply with the subpoena, or the committee will seek a court-ordered deadline. The committee argues it needs Willis' testimony to determine if state laws governing district attorneys need to be changed. Willis' lawyer argues the investigation is politically motivated and the committee lacks the authority to subpoena her. That was her attorney's argument. A judge shut that shit down. This whole thing is political. The Trump case was always political. So it's no fun when a rabbit got the gun, because now the tables has turned on her. Fanny must think either she's above the law or think, yes, both. She thinks she's above the law. That's why she thinks it's a joke. How will any of this be enforced? Listen, they just said they motion it. And if you notice, the two guys who opposed the motion, they were black and they were Democrats. Okay, let's not put race into it, because if they were white Democrats, they would have opposed it. But she will get locked up. You cannot. If a judge says you have to answer a subpoena and you refuse, you get locked up. That's an easy lockup. So she has run out of options. Now, it's pretty funny because she knew the committee was having this meeting today. She was in LAX yesterday going on vacation with Nathan Wade, celebrating his birthday. So we're going to go down memory lane and we're going to hear her testimony from a year ago, laying out their timeline of romance. And she's going to talk in details about the trip that she paid for his 50th birthday to go to Belize. They lived it up on taxpayers' dollars. Yes. Thank you, Walter, for the super chat. Guys, please hit the like button. Please share this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And let me pull it up, the video. Give me a sec. I have my time stamps here. Yes, honey, we going down memory lane today. Let me get to my timestamp. Okay, here we go. Make this bigger. So this is Fani Willis from a year ago this month when she took the stand and she was being grilled by Ashley Merchant about her and Nathan Wade relationship, when it started, how much money she was spending, yada, yada, yada. So let's play.
Throughout that time period, I didn't see her. I didn't even know where she was. When I ran into her, I was surprised she was in Atlanta. And so, yes, I have known her probably since 1990, 1991, but we have not maintained a consistent relationship that whole time.
For the last 10 years or 5, whatever you'd like to classify it as, have you been friends with her?
I have not spoken to Robin in over a year. I certainly do not consider her a friend now. I think that she, you know, there's a saying, no good deed goes unpunished, and I think that.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Your security detail, did they take you to and from your house?
They take, well, so I haven't been able to enjoy my home.
Condo, I'm sorry.
Since March of.
Where you lay your head? Did they take you to and from where you lay your head?
99% of the time.
Would they take Mr. Wade to and from wherever you laid your head?
That has never in the history of ever happened, ever, okay?
Your security team has never taken him?
From my house? That's a lie.
That's another. If they've ever taken him anywhere.
And I'm telling you that that's never happened.
So your security team has never taken Mr. Wade
My security team has never taken Mr. Wade from any place where I have lived and brought him here. Never. Not once. Not ever.
Have they ever taken the two of you together?
To where?
Anywhere.
Well, we've left this building and gone to lunch, but I go to lunch so rarely that is a very rare occasion. I am sure, and let me be clear, it wouldn't just be Mr. Wade. So I'm sure my security team has taken me to lunch. Probably been a time I've left here 7 o'clock, gone to get something to eat, and I don't even know that they would have taken him or if he would have driven himself, but they've taken me to do that. But we're talking very few, very far in between. Most days I don't even eat lunch, and when I do, it's because my assistant has heated up some bag, something, and I eat through meetings and eat in my office. It's not a practice of mine to go to lunch.
During the time period that you were dating, would your security team ever take you two together anywhere?
No.
Never?
If there was a lunch that occurred that I just described, if there was a meal that occurred that I just described, anything outside of that, and it needs to be very clear. Not often. Once, twice. Because I want to be over-inclusive, I'm saying once or twice. I'm not certain that it happened, but I'd rather be over-inclusive with you.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And, well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was, do you have any
I
problem?
object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review, and I just want to know if she has any
That's not
problem.
something you deal with a witness.
Okay, you have to file as part of your job something called an income and financial disclosure report, correct?
That's correct.
And you filed your first one, so you filed 2 to date, is that right?
Is it 2 or 3? I probably would have filed 21, 22, and maybe I haven't filed 23 yet, because isn't it due like June of the next year?
April, I believe. So you filed, let's see, you filed your first one, it looks like April 15th, 2022, and your second one, April 17th, 2023. Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember the dates, but you're an officer of the court. I'm going to hope you're telling the truth now.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you. I already gave the state a copy. Exhibits 20 and 21, if you take a look at those. They're in front of the circuit after.
Can somebody bring me some? Yeah. Guys are getting a little old. Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
those are the ones that you filed.
This looks like me for sure. Yes, ma'am.
I used to spend my entire day in status meetings, but now
Damn commercials.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, we'd move to admit 20 and 21.
I think you need to delineate which one's which
20
one's which.
is 2021, so it accounts for the time period, Your Honor, January the 1st, 21 through December the 31st, 2021. That is Defendant's Exhibit 20. Defendant's Exhibit 2021, it accounts for the time period, January the 1st, 2022 through December the 1st of 2022.
All right. Any objection to exhibits 20 and 21
Nope. Sorry.
from other counsel? Admitted without objection.
Yeah. When did your personal relationship with Mr. Wade end?
Our personal relationship ended in this year.
Here come the lies.
So let's be very clear so that we don't mix words. I don't want to mix words in here. Mr. Wade is my friend right now. Mr. Wade, I would say, has been my friend since 2020. I think he started out as like a mentor and a professional colleague. He became my friend and somebody that I really respected. I feel very indebted to Mr. Wade for taking on the task of this job. And he is certainly my friend and one of the people that I respect the most. So if you ask about a personal relationship, I consider myself to have a personal relationship right now, Mr. Wade. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Anna Cross. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Mr. Abadi. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Andrew Evans.
Okay, let me just clarify that
I
before we
have a
go.
personal relationship with him as we speak right now.
A romantic
I don't think that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking.
Relationship. When did your romantic relationship with Mr. Wade end?
My-
Did it end?
Me and Mr. Wade, we are good friends. My respect for him has grown over these 7 weeks of attacks. We are very good friends. I think, but for these attacks, it would have been a friendship that, as life goes, you would have stopped having. I think that you have cemented that we'll be friends to the day we die.
Let's.
Could we just have an answer to the question?
I can handle Mr. Seda. Let's have it.
She asked about a personal relationship.
She asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
Sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe me in, this is what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right?
No, I'm just asking about your
really-
romantic relationship. When you stopped dating?
I think that me and Mr. Wade, So he's a man. He probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. And so that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
And where, when did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo, so I'm trying to use those terms.
So but there's been more see, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I
Ms.
need
Merchant, if you
to,
could ask a more precise question.
yes, please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this, let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here? I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth.
Judge,
and it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
You see.
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
This never gets old. It never gets old. That one line right there. Where is it?
Minutes. Be back in 5.
Please give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here? I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth.
Judge,
and it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
That never gets old. That never gets old. So I want to fast forward. This is the last part here. I want to fast forward to when she goes into details of the trips and the money she spent, how much she gave him, his birthday, because it all swings back to today. Everything that this woman has said on that stand, she made a fool of herself. That's why this would never get old. This is classic. This is classic TV here. She got on that stand, made a fool of herself, no decorum, no composure, lied. Big liar. She's a big liar. Look at her. So this is the part here where her explaining the trips and the money that she spent on Nathan Wade and continue to do today.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited?
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about,
In
during
2020?
2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone, so I'm going to say yes.
Did you have ongoing phone conversations during 2020 with Mr. Wade?
Oh, yeah, I talked to, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, no question about that.
No question. I talked to him on the phone in 2020.
I understood, and this is, maybe I was confused. The Belize trip was for
his 50th birthday.
His 50th birthday, and that was in
March. He turned 50 March 18th of 2023. If you look at the dates of the trip, I think we were there about 6 days. We stayed at 2 different locations.
And you paid for it?
100%. He said, not only, I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flights, I had a birthday luncheon for him, I paid for massages, I paid for everything.
And would those payments be reflected on your credit card?
I paid for the cash.
You paid them in cash?
Cabs. I was telling you all the different things.
I'm asking you whether or not those payments would be reflected on credit card bills of yours.
So there was about $500 that I think is reflected on a debit card. What my recollection is, I took about 4 in cash with me. To
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent. I probably gave $300 or $400 to this guy who was a taxi driver. He would drive us every day around the 2 or 3 days we went. Took him to eat like it was my trip money.
And you had, to be clear, to end this up, the $4,000 that you just.
Wix gives you the power of AI.
Give it all to him. Remember, I only gave the $2,500 to him.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you that $4,000 is part of your, my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Any circumstances to you or in court.
All right, back on track.
The hoard, cash hoard debt.
I would not classify it in that way, but I have money at my house. Yes, sir.
And the money, when you had money at your house.
I'm speaking too loosely. I had money wherever I was staying. So I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
So when you were at what we said the Yerti condo during the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I say there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I want to see if we can get through a few more defense counsel possible before breaking for today. Mr. Stockton.
Last area, briefly.
Yes, sir.
You had contact with Mr. Wade in the year 2020, correct?
I had some contact with Mr. Wade.
Would you explain when you say some contact? Please tell us, talking about 2020.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade in 2020. One of the reasons your allegations are so preposterous, or Ms. Merchants that you have joined, is...
Ma'am, I didn't ask you about the allegations. I asked you about your contact. That's all I ask you, okay? I appreciate that you want to say something, but I'm interested in, did you have contacts with Mr. Wade in 2020? And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
I do appreciate the characterization.
I'm not going to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
All right,
so I don't think we should discuss further.
Mr. Sato, next question.
Trying to, Your Honor. Would you tell us on the occasions in 2020 that you had contact with Mr. Wade?
I'm sorry, I thought I had answered that. Yes, sir. There were times in 2020 I had contact, but 2020 was a year I was running for office. It was a year that he was going through some serious medical issues, and I did not have much contact, but I certainly had contact with him in 2020.
Did you go out to eat with him?
Maybe, probably.
Did you visit him in any location, his office, or did he visit you in your office in 2020?
I am sure I'm sure, ooh, that's a very good question. I'm sure he came to 750 in 2020.
750
was my office.
Okay.
Not often, but maybe once or twice. Maybe I went to his office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
Maybe we would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza, or maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by each other's office, though, but not often, not a lot. We both grinded, trying to make a living.
I understand what you've said about the cancer, and I'm not going into that. But when you were going out with him to restaurants, or when he would come to your office, right? Those were not sterile environments, were they?
Oh, very sterile, because it was...
The restaurants were sterile environments?
A lot of times we wouldn't eat there. We would pick up something and go in, but they were...
I'm listening to you. You pick up and take it to where?
Maybe eat at our office, but it did not happen much. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And my office in 2020, nobody was coming in. I was stir crazy, so I would still go into my office. You remember when I started this, I said, I am not even sure if we came to each other's offices, but I am trying to be over cautious. So I think I can recall him at 750 a couple of times. I just think I can recall him at 750 once, but let's say twice. I have seen his office. I remember all the.
She's just babbling and babbling right about now. But he almost caught her in a lie when he was like, well, if you didn't eat inside the restaurant, where did you take the food at? Oh my God, this is classic. This is classic. We got to have a marathon of this whole trial thing, of this whole testimony. But anyway, getting back to the beginning of this second clip. First of all, when she said he had cancer, which is clearly a HIPAA violation, you telling the whole world this man had cancer, but you ain't want to emasculate a black man. But that's exactly what you did. You emasculated him. But she went in details about the trip to Belize for his 50th. His birthday is March 18th, i.e., they were just in the airport yesterday on March 25th. She knew. See, she's very calculated, very sneaky. But all her lies is catching up to her. She knew that the Georgia Senate Committee was going to have a meeting today. So she hot-tailed it out of town with her lover to celebrate his birthday. Because you could have went last week. His birthday was on the 18th. Maybe they were busy working. Nevertheless, they're on a vacation on her dime, on taxpayers' dime, celebrating his birthday because she's desperate, I guess, to get her back blown out. Allegedly getting her back blown out. But ain't no alleged that they were at the airport. And it just so happened March 18th is his birthday, so maybe this is his birthday celebration. Are they going back to Belize in South America? Who knows? But, Miss Thane, when you come back home, you have to answer to the Georgia Senate Committee subpoenas. You're going to have to answer and submit the documents that you were trying to hide for so long. The question that I have for Fani and her office, why was she trying to hide the documents? Why was she trying to prevent those documents from being handed over? What is it in those documents that she does not want the Georgia Senate Committee to see that they are going to make public because it's open records? What is it in those documents she does not want us to know? Is something there? Yes, Barb. She is a pathological liar. I mean, a lot of lawyers are liars. That's their job. But as a prosecutor, you are supposed to work for the people, not against the people. So it's pretty deceiving when prosecutors are just lying to save their own ass. Not just lying, but stealing money, misappropriation of funds, screwing coworkers, whether they're your associates, whether they're freelancers. He was under contract. This whole thing is a mess, and I'm loving it. Honey, we've been riding Fani for a whole year. And honestly, you know what? I think I should have been doing more content on her. I haven't really done a lot of content on Fani. I have not, because it was an election, and the election got real heavy over the summer. So we were focused on Kamala and Trump. But I should have just turned my channel into a whole Fani Willis. She is also the gift that keeps on giving, which brings me back to this. What is going on with Black women in these high power positions? Fani Willis, Letitia James, you have the Kim Fox, Marilyn Mosley. She just barely escaped prison. Who else is on that list? I just had another person, Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. What is going on? First of all, Black people in these powerful positions, in some type of position of power, position of influence, and you doing everything else except for your job. I got a new playlist called Breaking Jasmine because this bitch doesn't know when to shut her mouth. She talk. She likes to curse. And this is another one. She done dug a hole so goddamn deep, honey. She's living in China. Fani Willis. And and it's like, you know what? It makes sense that these two, Fannie and Wade, are still together. Why not? Why not? Because y'all only have each other. They can only rely on each other right about now. They're in this together. So why not be together? Continue on with that love affair.
I have had conversations with him since you filed the motion, but they wouldn't be substantive to this. He sent me very nice sermons that have been done. And so,
when did the romantic relationship between the two of you start?
Yeah, so we get into. There's been this effort to say that, okay, these exact dates are at issue, and these exact dates are. I'm getting signaled here.
He's another slickster.
Yeah, take this. You want to go off mic for a second?
Yes.
Okay. Go off mic for a second.
Keep rolling?
Yeah, keep rolling. Don't stop now.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
He's sneaky, just like her. See, she's a Scorpio, and I don't do that sign shit, especially if I'm dating someone. But in this case, let's do it. She's a Scorpio, October 28th. He's a Pisces, March 18th. That's still Pisces, yes. So they're two water signs, honey. And water signs are sneaky as hell. I can tell you that for a fact. Water signs are sneaky as hell. She's sneaky, he's sneaky. They're both, honestly, they're not sneak so much, they're not even hiding it. And why should you hide it? But my thing is, and a lot of times I hate harping on black, but I can't help it, because you cannot sit up here and play victim and then want to be a victor. I say that about white people all the time. When they want to do this reverse racism, they're being discriminated against, blah, 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 which they are not. You cannot play the victim. And this is with anybody. You cannot play the victim and want to be the victor at the same time. You got to pick one. You want to be a victim and that's it. You're going to be the victor and that's it. So Fanny, honestly, she has been playing the victim since she got busted. But before that, remember when she walked out in that press conference when she announced that she was going to be heading the Donald Trump Georgia case? Oh, honey, this is just the beginning. This is just a snippet of me going down memory lane. Just a snippet. Because I'm going to be doing more videos leading up to that Georgia Senate hearing that she's going to have to sit in front of, and they're going to film that shit live. I'm going to be doing videos going down memory lane from the beginning when she first took that Trump case. Her and Wade walked out there during that press conference and she thought she was top shit. You couldn't tell her nothing. Oh, they had this in the bag. And I hate to say this, but What made your black ass think that an old, wealthy, well-connected, powerful white man was going to let you beat him? And you could have if you wasn't so damn arrogant and cocky. But what makes you think an old, white, wealthy, powerful man was going to let you beat him? Was going to let you walk off in the sunset? And now look where she's at. And so when we go and we look at black people in these positions of power, especially in Congress, because I kind of want to segue until P. Ray come up. She just texted me. She's traveling. She should be up in about 7-10 minutes. I want to segue into black people in position of influence and power, particularly in Congress. We have a Congressional Black Caucus. They do absolutely nothing for Black America. And I can say that because the purpose of the Congressional Black Caucus is to represent Black issues here in America. The same way you have the Hispanic caucus, the Asian caucus. They even have an LGBTQ caucus. It's called the Equality Caucus, to represent those specific groups' needs, American needs. Congressional Black Caucus does nothing for Black people, but they want to use Black people and Black suffering for their convenience. And this is Representative Ayanna Pressley talking about how Trump cabinet is the whitest cabinet in history.
Happening. The Trump cabinet is on track to be one of the whitest cabinets in modern history. And when the government is given unchecked authority, civil rights are often the first to be sacrificed. Without this amendment, nothing in this bill stops an administration from using its reorganization powers to weaken the enforcement of civil rights and anti-discrimination protections. So I don't know why anyone here would be either deafeningly quiet or be opposed to a guarantee that government cannot support segregation. This bill grants the president and executive departments new powers, and it is essential that we explicitly limit these powers from rolling back civil rights and supporting segregation. Now, listen, I'm somebody who believes, in the power of data. So let me offer some data points here. The Department of Housing at HUD, Trump is firing HUD workers in my district, including those that oversee anti-discrimination work. If we do not pass this amendment, he could try to allow for segregated housing like he did with his real estate properties in New York. Department of Labor, Trump has fired members of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, an independent agency leading to power being concentrated in the Department of Labor. If we do not pass this amendment, we could see the erasure of all progress made for equal employment and equal pay, regardless of race. And finally, the Department of Veterans. The erasure of the contributions of Black veterans is already happening under the Trump administration. Without this amendment, Trump would go further than websites. He will deny Black people care at local VA hospitals throughout the country. So I don't understand why anyone would be opposed to what should be an easy amendment to support, unless you support the efforts of Donald Trump to resegregate this society, which he is clearly on track to do, having just dropped this policy prohibiting contractors from having segregated facilities. Why would such an action be taken if that is not the root and the motivation of his dangerous and draconian actions that seek to take us back?
Well, first of all, I don't know who the hell that was breathing so damn hard into the mic. Second of all, you heard what she said at that last part. President Trump is allowing contractors. Let me rewind it.
Be an easy amendment to support, unless you support the efforts of Donald Trump to resegregate this society, which he is clearly on track to do, having just dropped this policy prohibiting contractors from having segregated facilities.
Prohibiting contractors from having segregated facilities. And I did a show on this last week, Wednesday, on Dinner with the Data. It was a really good show. And that has nothing to do with Black people. It has nothing to do with discriminating against people with their race, with their religion, even with their gender. It has to do with not allowing people who identify as transgender male or woman to go into bathrooms that they assign themselves to. What he's saying is, if I have a company and I don't want to have, and I only want to have 2 facilities for men and women, particularly the bathroom, it is my right to do that. You cannot sue me because I won't allow you, transgender women, to go into the women's bathroom if that's not what I don't want in my company, or a transgender man to go in a men's bathroom. See, the word bathroom is just not in that whole memo, but it is facility. And that is the problem with the Democrats. They do not speak for Black Americans at all. They've been stopped doing that. Their sole purpose is to represent illegals and LGBTQAI plus. And they're trying to wrap this up in a bow of bigotry, racism, and blaming the Trump administration for that. And that is just not the case. That is just not the case. Let's see. Here's Jasmine Crockett. And she's talking about her focus is not about passing any legislation.
Let's talk first about this session, some of your goals. Is there anything you're trying to pass? How much of it is going on offense? How much of it is going on defense, trying to stop the Republicans?
Trying to pass? No. I should probably be a better politician and tell you, yes, we've got all this amazing legislation that I can absolutely imagine Donald Trump signing into law, and I'm just not gonna lie. I think that right now it is about preserving our basics and getting back some of the norms that make sure that people have food on the table, the norms that make sure that people aren't going through any extra layer of stress when it comes to figuring out education for their kids. So right now, I can tell you that unfortunately, I am not working towards very much that I would consider being the progress train. I am working to make sure that I can minimize the regress train right now. And I think, and I hope that my district appreciates that I am being honest with them.
So her focus is to stop the regress train. Nobody isn't complaining about the Donald Trump administration train except for you and the Democrat Party. The American people, we are the ones that matter, not you. You were elected to represent your district, Americans. Americans are not complaining about no type of regress because there isn't any. There isn't any. So instead of this heifer talking about progress, she's not even talking about progress for Black people. She's focused on the so-called regress. But you know what? She is talking about progress for LGBTQAI plus. She's talking about progress for illegal migrants because she's tried to shame Americans by saying, well, Who's going to change the beds when you go vacation at the hotels? Who's going to work the farms because you're sending your kids to college? Every kid is not going to college because Americans can't afford it. They can't afford it. They are the ones looking to work at the hotels, looking to pick oranges that they're getting laid off from because of the illegals. So to admit that you're focused on so-called regress, make-believe regress, a narrative that the Democrat Party is creating for themselves, that says a lot right there. The dangers of this party. Honestly, if the Republicans are smart, not only should they use this against the Democrats, but they need to make sure that they are protecting and helping to enhance Americans' lives better. By doing that, they will keep the Democrats from ever controlling Congress. Forever controlling Congress. I want to play a clip of Jasmine today. So this is her today.
About emergency management, and they don't care about free speech, all of which are harming American people. In fact, I'm gonna skip off real quick because they have tried to come for you, Miss Mayor, and I just want to clarify, you did not work for NPR when those statements were made, did you?
That is correct, Madam
And to
Chair.
be clear, free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else. And the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the
gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired.
About emergency.
Why does she gotta curse every single time? I'm like, and you know what? And this is what we got to see from her from here on out. We have to see. You are making Marjorie look like a damn Miss America. You making Marjorie Taylor Greene look like she always had class. We don't forgot about her, but that was her mission. The Democrat Party is propping up Jasmine Crockett to be the face of Black women and Black people. And of the DNC, which is a problem. Here's another clip.
I put out a statement regarding that. You didn't apologize. I put out a statement. Why would I apologize when I put out a statement? My statement was clear. But you didn't apologize for calling him Governor Hot Wheels when he gets around in a wheelchair. I don't know how that's offensive. I don't understand. People have a disability need me to repeat this to you. Right, but why won't you apologize? I put out a statement. They did not have an apology. So read my statement. I did read it. It did not have an apology. Okay, well, I'm done. You don't feel bad about making fun of someone who is in a wheelchair? Calling him Governor Hot Wheels? I put out a statement regarding that. You didn't apologize. I put out a statement. Why would I apologize?
So her attitude is changing because I think I do have a clip when she actually not assaulted, but she grabbed a journalist's phone who was filming her as they was walking through the Capitol hallway. She grabbed the phone and knocked it down. And I do believe that person, I think it was Laura Loomer or whatever, they said they do want to press charges. Oh my God. I think I do have that clip. Let me see something here. Let me see if I saved it. Yeah, here we go.
Recently on a Tesla takedown call, calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the
Yeah, you see her? Like, why did she have to grab
the Tesla takedown call, calling for violence on the 29th? Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the
Oh, honey, she put that thing right up, like she put her hand up to knock the phone away. But my thing is, why are you upset when somebody put the camera in your face? You love the camera so much. You love to get that close up. And for the love of God, that damn wig weave, she loves to flip it. She loves to do the flip. So when you have an independent journalist yelling or whatever, and got the camera all up there, why are you upset? And you grabbing it to knock it away. Too much that sassy, ignorant, ratchet ghetto attitude. And I don't like talking about Black women like that. I don't. But she is an exception. Somebody put a comment in my comment section saying, it's a shame that Black women have to tear other Black women down. And let me say this. First of all, these are politicians. They're free game. They are free game. They are politicians. So we could drag them if we want. All right, I see P-Way. Yeah, she is Fanny's daughter. Yes, she is. What happened to P-Way? P-Way, where you at? Okay, there you go. Let me see. Can you? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Go out and come back in. Yes, they are fair game. Yes, and I heard charges were pressed. Good. 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 Because you know what? That's going to slow her ass down. Slow her down a little bit. Thank you, Barbara. All right, honey. So I'm just waiting for P Ray to come up. She sent me a text that I'm a little concerned about, honey. She won't have to spill the tea. Let me see something here. Move this. Bring this in. And what happened? All right, P Ray, what's going on, honey? Guys, please hit the like button. Like, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Please share. And if you want to support, my Cash App is Dana. I thought I had my tag up there. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, I can hear you. Honey, Chicago be off the hook. What happened, Peter? What's going on? Oh, this is the old one. Okay. I'll wait for her to come back up. Yeah, she's coming out. We're just trying to work out the audio here. Puerto Rican Gloria. So, yeah, so listen, politicians, they're fair game. And yes, press them charges to slow her ass down. To slow her. Hey, you good? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Hold on. Hello? Can you hear me?
You're going in and out.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. All right. Yeah. All right. Let me see this. Remove guest. All right. I don't know. We'll wait. We'll give her a sec. We'll give her a sec. Because she sent me a text. And I want to get down to because listen, this is the year. Everybody getting exposed. Everybody getting on fun. Not just exposing, but naming names and letting people know you are doing this. You are wrong. You're breaking the law. You're being sneaky. And it's always these politicians or these political figures. I say the same thing about crash out Crockett. Why is every other word is a curse word? Before I gave my life to Christ, I didn't curse like that. Yeah. Black women are only as beautiful as the community it represents. You know, I don't know. Regina. So yeah, so you know, and that's what I'm saying. I hate to see that. Um, where is my? Let me see something. Okay, why isn't my name thing going? I have no idea. I don't know why. I don't know where. Hopefully, P Ray come back in. But and maybe I need to send her the link again. But tomorrow, me and the judge, we are going to be talking about January 6th, and Trump said that they should be compensated. They should get some type of retribution. And now we have an echo chamber of black people. We have an echo chamber of black people saying, well, we never got reparations or restitution. Actually, let me send her the link again to make sure. All right. Okay, there she go. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Where are your headsets, girl?
I couldn't find them and I was rushing, so I didn't want to be any later.
All right. So what happened?
With what? With the phone?
No, with the church.
Oh, girl. Okay. So everybody told me this was coming. When I say everybody, I mean everybody told me this was coming. They like, look, check it out. Like it's good now, but now you're gonna have to figure something else out. And I'm like, no, they ain't gonna do me like that. Well, they did me like that. So Brandon in the Democratic Party, they are dropping a lot of money on the streets of Chicago for the non-for-profits. And so now what he's doing is putting money on the streets for the non-for-profits. And so now you're going to see a big change in the narrative for Brandon because, you know, the money is moving. So I knew that they were going to try to do it because I was like, hey, you know, like, what's
So
going on?
they said that your organization can no longer utilize the church because of what?
I just told you. Now they didn't tell me that it was gonna be like this, and I don't want to like trash these people because at the
No,
end
I
of the
think
day,
it's
I
not.
know
It's, honestly, let me.
it's so that they say it. That's it. Um, but the non-for-profit world is the
Move a little
non-for-profit
bit
world.
over to the center of the camera.
I can't. So let me tell you where I am. I am. Remember, I told you my house caught on fire. I
Mhm.
am in a little space in my house where you cannot see the smoke. Okay, y'all. Like P. Ray got a lot going on.
Oh, no,
A
no, no.
lot.
I understand that.
No, no.
I'm just saying. Wait, 1 second. I'm just saying. Just a centimeter. Yeah.
There. All
Yeah.
right, cool. Sorry. So anyway, so I knew that this non-for-profit money was about to drop. We got FEMA money right now. It's like over $1 billion on the streets. And I know, or I don't know for a fact, it is alleged, and I can feel it in my soul, that the Democratic Party has dropped a lot of money in Chicago because the blue wall is dead. And so what they're trying to do now is shore up these non-for-profits in order for them to kind of, steer their people back toward the Democratic Party. So with this bond, remember the bond deal they were talking about, the $830 million bond deal that's going to be $1.2 billion or $2 billion once we repay it. For that deal, they said it was an infrastructure grant. However, if you read the narrative of the bond, it specifically states that this money is going to be going to non-for-profits. So now the Democratic Party, with the help of Brandon Johnson, has created an $830 million economy right now out of thin air. So as we're getting this Chicago Red movement together, I just share with my people, we must understand that we are now competing against an $830 million budget. We are also looking at money that was sent here from HUD and FEMA. That was $643 million, something like that. I went to that one. I don't know if I sent you the picture, Dana, but it was like all the people from our neighborhood, and they were holding this big old FEMA check, and I went and got in a picture with them. So I'm in this picture with Brandon Johnson, which is why people say, "Oh, P Raids with Brandon." No, we live in the same neighborhood, but again, I digress. So you got the FEMA money that just dropped. So with the the 830 million plus the 643 million of FEMA money, that's over $1 billion of economy that's currently moving through the non-for-profit community. So that's the reason. That's what I feel the reason is anyway. And it's okay because I don't have that money for them. We just gotta make it move differently now.
Let me ask you this. So when I'm talking, I'm just going to mute you so there won't be that audio echo thing. Okay,
Okay.
you're gonna mute. I'll just mute. Okay. So where the fuck he get this FEMA money from? Because Doge is cutting everyone. Now, this is the question. Doge cutting everything, and I'm about to pull up this thing to share with you. Is this the money that Trump was trying to stop from being sent out, and a judge denied Trump and saying this money was already assigned for, so you got to let it go out? Where's this billions of dollars FEMA money coming from?
So it's actually HUD and FEMA money, because 2 summers ago, this is what I believe. This has not been proven, but if I ever speak to Cash Patel and Pam Bondi, they got to come check this out. So Chicago has a system of tunnels underneath the city that allows the water to drain in and out during rain or flooding or something like that. We spent millions of dollars on it. Well, the weekend of the NASCAR race, we had a rainstorm, and somehow or another, all of the water got pushed to the west side of Chicago. It was so much water coming out the ground here, y'all, that the sewer caps had popped out into the air and water was shooting up. I had about 4 feet of water in my basement. Everybody had water in their basements. Well, now they're saying that they're going to give us relief money for this flood that happened 2 years ago. So now everybody's getting a new basement. Everybody's getting a hot water tank, a new furnace, and a bar put in their basement. Again, this is ways for the Democratic Party to come back and try to buy us back. I'm telling you, I figured out the whole shebang. And that's why, Dana, I got to be very careful, because when you figure out these things very quickly and you're the first one to figure it out, there are people who get upset. And they are upset that you're talking to the people about what's going on. So yeah, that's what's going on. New basements and non-for-profit money on the west side of Chicago.
Now, have you ever thought about, because you are non-for-profit, correct?
Yes. Well, we're a 501c4. That is a political action committee. I think you might have muted yourself.
I muted. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Can you guys apply for a grant?
We probably could. I don't know. I've never looked at into those things. For me, like, non-for-profits are cool. Don't get me wrong. We need people to do the business of the business. However, within our community, we have too many non-for-profits. So in the city of Chicago, only 47% of the people pay taxes. That means the other 53% are not paying taxes, but they are still thriving in the city. Excuse me. That's because they're getting program checks. Everybody is in the program. You get $2,500 here, $500 there. You kind of piece it together with what you're getting, and now you are getting stipends, that are not taxed, even though they're supposed to file tax at the end of the year, and they do, and then they get all this refund money back. But they are not getting benefits. They're not building Social Security quarters. They're not paying into any of these things. So I think that as a people, as a race, we got to move away from the non-for-profit world and get back into the capitalist society. Because what happens is, if you are depending on these grants all the time, then you have to follow the political system that's giving you the grants. That's what's happening here in Chicago. I'm telling you, I figured it all out. I'm like, I got to retool Chicago red completely, because I can't compete against this economy. Even if I go and I'm like, Brandon bogus, he gave the money to the illegals, they put measles in the schools, so on and so forth, I still don't have $830 million to give people in program checks. And the program checks are about to start flooding the streets right now based on the ways that they spent this money. Now, to your question, where did the FEMA money come from? That actually came from Jim Crow Joe. Right before Joe left office, he sent that money to Chicago. So that's why I told you I went to the meeting. I went to the press conference where HUD, the city, that's why Brandon was there. He was looking at me like, why is P Ray here? I have this red dress. And they were like, who? They were like, who brought her? I'm like, I live over here too. Y'all having the press conference. I'm P Ray. Of course I'm here. I digress. You had the feds, you had the state, you had the county. Everybody was there, and we held this big old check as a community for $640 million. When that money dropped, I said, this is about to get a little tricky. This is about to get very tricky, but it's really interesting because when FEMA came to Chicago, they came to see me, P. Ray. They came, they called Chicago and was like, yo, who do we have to talk to about what happened on the West Side? They were like, go see P. Ray. I met this woman. I took her to MacArthur's. We ate our soul food. I told her, now be quiet and listen to everybody talking around you. Everybody's still pissed off about the basements. So you can hear people like, man, Joe, FEMA only gave me like $6,000. I had da-da-da-da-da. I mean, she's like, man, people over here are mad. I'm like, yeah, so come help us. So I pulled together these community leaders, all the people that were running the big non-for-profits, the stakeholders, all the big people. I got on my phone like, okay, y'all, we got to have a meeting now. FEMA here, they want to see you now. So I had this meeting. And they told the FEMA lady, like, yo, the only reason we here is because she here. Like, if you would have called us, we not coming. But if she say come, we come. So they come, FEMA comes, they tell them what we need, and then boom, $640 million fall out of the sky for the West Side of Chicago. So that's another win for Chicago Red. Clap it up for Chicago Red. But in real life.
But did y'all see any of that money for your organization?
I don't know. So based on, no, let me go back. So the checks have not been cut. That's the first thing. Because when you're managing that much money, it becomes a question of who manages the money. Where does it fall? Who gets to bank the money? That's how I look at it as a banker. Who banks the money? But that's not financial advice, by the way. But I don't know who's banking. I don't know who's cutting the checks. All I know is that the money is coming here. That bond money, when the bond clears, that money is going to non-for-profits. And so that puts people like me in a very precarious situation, because one thing that one of the community leaders told me when I'm like, cut me in on the money. I got a finance degree. I speak Spanish. I speak French. I got these business skills. I'm a literacy coach. They were like, well, P. Ray, we don't know. You are a girl, but you be on Fox News talking that Trump stuff. And, I don't know how they going to like that. And I don't know how it's going to go. And I'm like, what? But
so hold on for a second. So basically, you are basically alienated from the so-called Inner Circle because of your political affiliation with the Republican Party.
I'm in the circle. That's the thing. I'm in it. They can't alienate me. They cannot. Every room I go in, every meeting, roundtable they have, I'm going. And I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna pull up a seat.
Wait, one second. That's not what I'm talking about. One second. That's not what I'm talking about. You could be in the room, but if you're not walking away with a piece of the action, or if you don't have, any grants money coming in, or if people are making it hard for you, to do certain things, just like today with the church. Okay, we gotta, I'm gonna push you out because I'm bringing this in because we got a nonprofit and they got money or whatever. I'm talking about that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to politics, you need money and you need power. And you need to be affiliated with a group that has those things that you could benefit from. But you're with the Republicans, your district is Democrat. That's
Correct.
what I mean.
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's exactly what it is. But again, because I have these very personal relationships with people, it's very difficult for them to be like, no, because they're like, no, we know that you're not trying to hurt us. You're not trying to sell us out. You believe that you are helping in your own way, and you are. And that's what they say too. We appreciate what you're doing. You are saying the things that we can't say. You have a eye for this because you've been looking at this for a very long time. But the powers that be, will be like, whoa, that's why I go by P. Ray and not my name, because my mother and I have the same first name, and she don't want none of that to get mixed up in this world. This is serious. This is some serious business. But it's okay, because we're winning. We got to keep going. And even with the people who are participating in the windfall. They still got my back, but I think it's not going to be as overt as it was before.
So I wanted to bring this up. I had mentioned this to you earlier. Mayor Johnson takes campaign cash from lawyer whose firm has pending lawsuits against City Hall. So he's taking campaign funds from the same person that's suing City Hall, suing him basically. He's City Hall, the face of City Hall.
Well, he couldn't. You know, when they say things like that, the politician in me says that he didn't hand Brandon that money. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like, here, Brandon. No, he donated to the campaign. Now, when you have these organizations, you have to submit what are called D2s. And the D2s talk about how you're spending the money. So somebody could have pulled Brandon's D2, saw that this guy donated and said, oh, this man's suing the city and he gave money to Brandon. So that's me thinking at my highest level, right? Because we want to think the best of people. But if I put on my Chicago politician brain, that is a way also for that guy to say, hey, you know, I am suing the city, you know, no, remember my name, you know, if it comes up in a budget meeting, you know, approve my settlement. But the way that the city council approves settlements, I don't think that that would be a necessary thing for that guy to do.
It just sounds messy. But I also want to bring this up right here. It says, U.S. Department of Labor canceled $577 million savings, including for gender equality Mexican workplace, 12.2 million worker empowerment in South America, 6.25 million for improving respect for workers' rights in agriculture supply in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, 5 million for elevating women's participation in the workplace in West Africa, 4.3 million for assisting foreign migrant workers in Malaysia, 3 million to enhance social security access and worker protection for internal migrant workers in Bangladesh, 3 million for a safe and inclusion work environment in Lesotho. So I bring that to your attention because we have been talking. This is how I met you through the illegal migrant crisis that was going on in Chicago and throughout this nation. And you also mentioned that, you know, Chicago would have a partnership with teachers down in South America. But there's a lot of money here that Doge uncovered that they were sending millions and billions of dollars to a lot of these countries where these illegals were coming from. So I just wanted to get any thoughts you may have on that.
There are a lot of pieces that go into looking at the USAID situation. A lot of that money is used for implementing democracy in these spaces, meaning that they're funding rebel groups. For instance, they found this guy in Minnesota who was getting all of this money for a food program, but he was actually a leader in the Somalian militia that's currently fighting the Somali government. And he had funneled like millions and millions and millions of dollars to this group through his food organization. So I think that the United States of America has been very complicit in doing this. USAID has been kind of a shadow paramilitary fund that we've been using to kind of have our way around the world. However, I'll say in the same breath that one of my things is that I wanted to get a USAID contract in Senegal, because y'all know I love Dakar, specifically working with gender violence. In Senegal, if a woman is beat by a man, she has to go to the clinic and get a medical certificate in order to file a police report. That medical certificate is $50. So it costs $50 to report somebody abusing you. So I wanted to get a USAID contract to have a program that pays for those medical certificates and pays for DNA and rape kits. So that was my USAID project, but they're cut all the money, so they probably won't be doing it. But my project wouldn't have been a paramilitary thing unless they tried to say like, oh, I'm trying to do feminism to like throw off the family balance, whatever. But people don't deserve to be beat. I say that to say that all that money coming back, all that money's coming back to us. You know, I think that they're very serious about cutting us some Doge checks because the economy is not doing as well as we thought it would be by this time. People aren't working. So I think some checks are coming. So if we got to leave the Listoso gender people in the workplace alone, that's fine because we need that money right here on the west side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. P-Ray, I always love having you come on. Actually, I like this setup better. I I like this setup better. You could put a little backdrop in the background or whatever, and I think it's more convenient because you're at home. But I love it when you come on. I'm gonna talk to you off camera about some things because sometimes you just gotta switch it up. You just gotta switch it up, and sometimes you gotta switch things up to recalculate, regroup, and then come back and hit people over the head. But I think it's at a point right now what you and others, because you didn't do it alone, you and others have been doing, pushing the awareness of what was going on in Chicago with the illegal migrants and other local um, resolutions and public policies that you guys needed. You did a lot. I think you did enough, and I think right now it's just time to switch it up a little bit. And we briefly talked about that before. We could talk about it definitely offline, but I think that you've done your job, and now it's just time to elevate at a higher level. You get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, no,
I don't want to sit. I'm not going to go in details to because we talked about it briefly, but I'm not going to go in details. But I'm just saying it's time to just switch it up.
and I get it. And the thing is, even with me being here, this house is held in a trust. So in order for us to move, like insurance is going to fix it, but we have to find somewhere to go for 4 months. And so I'm here. I got my daughter. We have this apartment. But then underneath me is my uncle and my cousin. So I have 3 adults. My uncle has Parkinson's and a teenager, right? And I need somebody to rent to us for 4 months while we get our house revamped. And that's very difficult to do in the Chicago housing market. But we found somebody, praise God, that is going to let us stay in their spot. So we're going to be moving out of here very quickly. And then I'm going to have a whole new house by my birthday in October. So hopefully you can come visit me in Chicago and check it out for yourself. Because we have a ball here. And we got a lot of crazy political stuff, but we have a ball on the west side of Chicago. And I think you would enjoy yourself.
When is your birthday?
October 2nd. I'm a lucky Libra.
Me too. Mine's October 7th.
Oh, see, that's how we get along. Yes.
All right, so great. Listen, well, in the meantime, like I said, I'll talk to you off air. But as always, I really appreciate you always coming up here, dropping the information, the knowledge, the facts, and I just think it's more to come. I just think, and even for me too, it's just time to switch it up. It's just time to switch it up because we're in a golden age, and we need to start acting like it. All politicians, I don't care, they're all liars. I don't trust anybody. And let me just, I will say this part. I told you, stop being nice, stop trusting people, stop thinking, oh, this person, it doesn't matter whether they're nice or not. They're all liars. Don't trust anybody. And just do the work, have an agenda, and it's all about money. Like I always tell people, just get to the bag, because people will try to use and abuse you. So yeah. But thank you, P-Ray.
You're welcome. Anytime. See y'all. Good night.
Good night. All right, guys, listen, this was a really good show. And I'm glad P-Ray was able to hop on. And I think that's really fucked up of that church to just tell her at the last fucking minute, oh, you can no longer hold meetings or be here or whatever. But you know what? Listen, life happens, shit happens. And again, you just regroup, you just keep moving. And that is the quote of the day. Keep moving no matter what. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. If you got to take a rest, take a break, but keep moving forward. Because your enemy want to see you stagnating. You can't give them that. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you to people that sent in donations. Oh, Julius, yes, I am going to let her know. Lemon character. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hella Mel, Walter. Julius Edwards, can you send me an email, danawiththedata@gmail.com, or message me on X at the real Dana number 7, and I will connect you. I will get you P Ray's email address. I will get you P Ray's email address. So thank you for that. And I meant to read this when she was here. I totally forgot. So send me an email, danawiththedata@gmail.com, or send me a message on X at the real Dana number 7, Julius Edwards. And I think I do follow you on X. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Great show. And I will see you. Maybe I do a live on Friday. But make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button for all notifications, like this video, share this video on all social media outlets, comment below, and look out for Injustice for All. Episode 11 is going to be dropping tomorrow. All right, bye. Bye, guys. Oh, yes, Judge O'Brown. Okay, so just hit me up. Hit me up. All right, guys. Bye.